look at 4 different crates, and we're going to start right off with the DIY milk crate version. Okay, for my first crate, I started off with the basic DIY milk crate that you see on all the other YouTube videos. I utilized 3 milk crates with this build. First off, you have the basic bottom of the crate. Open her up. This is your first solid milk crate. Inside I've got 7 3600 series boxes, the old school warm-up brand, right where I started from. I can easily fit 7 of those in there, plus a raincoat, or if I wanted, I could put another 3600 on top of the box. I attached the lid with zip ties drilled through on the side of the crate, and attached it with zip ties along the edge to make a DIY hinge. Around the outside, I had 6 rod holders on it. This is a bit old. So I got the 3 basic rod holders, individual, and I zip tied those in on the side. I had 6 on here. On the other side, I got a piece of 3-inch PVC pipe, and I capped the end, and I used to carry my anchor in there when I'd have the standard claw anchor. I'd toss that out, tie it off to a cleat on the kayak, and I'd slide it back in here when I wasn't using it. Drilled a hole in the bottom for it to drain out through, and it worked well for what I had. The first lid. This is the first couple inches off the bottom of my second milk crate. So what I did is right at the top, right where it starts to separate into the honeycomb looking pattern, I cut that off and sanded it down, and initially had just an open compartment on top. And here I've got a couple 3500 series, my terminal tackle. You can put your snacks and stuff in there. And I saw a lot of people would do bungee cord back and forth across there to hold their stuff in, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I had a third crate. I cut the very, very bottom of that crate off, right along that bottom seam, and made another hinge and attached it as a second lid. And put a little bungee cord here with a hook on it into a pad eye, and it held it down so stuff wouldn't fall out. And to keep it safe inside the kayak, I would bungee cord the base of the kayak down to the crate down to the kayak, and it worked well for what I was using it for. I was new to kayak fishing, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. And altogether into this build, I had the 3 milk crates that I got for free, about $2 a piece for the rod tubes, and I had some spare PVC laying around. I think I paid $1.50 for that, so it was about maybe $10 in on this build. Sturdy, but the biggest part I didn't like about this was the weather resistance. It's not waterproof, it's not water resistant. Water, if it rains on you, everything inside is going to get wet, so you had to have good quality boxes or waterproof bags inside here to keep your stuff dry. And that led me to look for something different. Okay, so for my first upgrade, I went to a semi-waterproofish Toolbox. I can't remember where I actually got this one. It's a Bauer brand, but there are plenty of different DeWalt, Craftsman, Husky brand out there. For this one, I added triple rod holders on either side. This side I had the notches at the top. On this side was more for my spin cast rods with the solid tops. In between there's a couple tool holders on it. You can put pliers and your scissors or what have you. Tie off a couple lanyards if you need to for your rods. I bolted those in with a 1-inch spacer to keep the rods as close to vertical as I could, and to keep it away from the lid when I opened it up. Quite sturdy, got a good carrying handle. Inside, it's empty now. I could fit 10 3600 series boxes in here. Plus I could put spare stuff on top, some plastics on it if I wanted, a couple bags of plastics, storage bags, wet weather gear if I wanted it. And it worked. And I mean, as long as I didn't take on water or capsize, it basically kept everything dry. And it's solid, very, very solid, but it's heavy. Worked well for what I had it for, but as I progressed, I wanted to get a little bit better. I wanted to go from the DIY into more of the ready-made store-bought equipment. That led me to the Kayak Crate. And all in all, in this build, these run anywhere from $30 to $60 for the toolbox. The rod holders were another $12, I believe it was. And I'm going to link all this stuff below in the comments with links to all the products I used in this video to get exact pricing if you want to price it out. But I've got rough estimates. This build right here, probably $60, $70 is what I had into it. And again, it worked, but I moved on. So as my fishing progressed, I had to move up in my tackle game, my Kayak Crate game. Had to improve, and I started with a 13 by 13 BlackPak Pro from Kayak Crate. And initially I had 3 rod tubes on each side without the short stack on top. And this was on my Old Town Predator, and I elevated the rod tubes so that it would fit in that tank well, and it fit great. And I eventually added the track pack to the top to add a little more storage for my plastics and what have you. I picked up a Old Town Autopilot 136, and if you haven't watched my last video, go ahead back and take a look at it. I started out with this, and I added the short stack for a little bit more storage, add more plastics, and I could fit 6 3600s in the bottom. But as my electronics increased, also did my battery requirements, and I turned this into a bit of a battery box. And inside I initially ran a Dakota Lithium 24 amp hour and this Lifetime or Power Queen 54 amp battery to run my 2 Garmin 93 SVs and my live scope. And I ran them out, the power cables out through the side, which are kind of hidden on the back of this right here. Right here, and I ran it into my Yak power system, and I ran all my electronics that way. But I again upgraded. So this is now sitting on my new canoe Unlimited, and with this I have just the 24 amp hour Dakota Lithium on the inside in here, and I use that to run my electronics, and I just screwed it in with a couple screws to hold that little box and some pool noodle just to keep it from bouncing around. And I've got this hooked to my Garmin 7-inch 74 SV, and it runs it all day, and I didn't need anything more than that on that boat, because that's just my everyday kayak, my river kayak, and I won't be taking that out into tournaments. But again, with added the short stack to it, that gives me another room for 3600 boxes, my soft plastics, different spare parts for the kayaks, the paddle leash, and accompany that with the track pack on top, and it fits the bill for going out everyday fishing. And I love this pack, and it's weather resistant, not completely waterproof, because you're still going to be able to get some water in if you get splashed on the side. But for the most part, it keeps everything dry. And this is where the cost really starts coming into play. And at the end, I'm going to go through and review all the costs of all these. But right here, we're looking at upwards of close to $250 or so. It gets expensive, but I had the ability and I had the desire to do it, so I went ahead and made the investment. So as I entered my second season of tournament fishing, I realized I needed a little bit more. Water conditions change, weather changes, and when you're far from home, you're going to need all of your tackle and all of your equipment that you really think you could use on that body of water with you. So I upgraded to the 16 by 16 Kayak BlackPak Pro with the short stack upgrade and 2 track packs on top. This is my ultimate kayak crate. I've got 8 rod holders on it. I've also got room on my kayak for 4 more, so I take anywhere from 8 to 12 rods with me. On the front side here, I also have the little pickpocket insert from the track packs. I bolted this on here, to hold the cable for my micro anchor power pole. So I pull that out and it runs into a battery inside. And I run that to the back of the kayak and plug it into my power pole. This will fit the 3700 series boxes, and this is pricey. So it's not something you're going to want to necessarily invest in if you're not going to use all this space. Inside here, I've got a 100 amp hour Enduro Pro lithium battery. I've got that wired to my power pole, another cable going into my Yak power module to run all my electronics, my 293 SVs, my live scope, and I also have an outlet for USB charging for my GoPros, for my cell phone. Out on the water, you don't want your phone to go dead and not be able to submit your fish. I took a cutting board and trimmed it down to set inside behind the battery to keep it from bouncing around, plus a little bit of pool noodle to shore up the sides. In here I just keep my Old Town box with the spare parts, some shear pins. I've got my spare prop in here. Right here for the autopilot, I've got a first aid kit. Right here. And I always got to keep my scale for that big one that comes in. May get it, may not, but it's always better to have it and not need it. Than need it and not have it. On my short stack add-on, in here I've got 4 3600 series Plano boxes, double stack on each side, a whole slew of plastics, a couple swim baits, extra cables for my power, and on top I have the 2 track packs. I also mounted those to the top, to the lid, and in here you've got the trays. On this one, we got my spare fuses for the power pole, snips, a little bit of terminal tackle, some weights, various baits on either side, and this has the ability to carry everything I want. Couple that with the track packs I have on the kayak and 2 Plano bags I keep beside my seat, holding soft plastics as well. Can't think of another thing I could stack in that kayak with me. I still have room to spare, but that weight starts to add up real quick. All in all, on this one, I think I'm roughly close to $400 on this box. And again, I'll list all the prices of what I have into each one of these at the end of the video. And let me know what you think. To me, this is my ultimate kayak crate, and I know Jay Valentin, he had a crate challenge going around, bearded dad fishing, but I might have you beat on this one, Jay. So take a look, and if you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I'll get to them. So I hope I was able to give you all a little perspective on the different kayak crates and what you can do with the money you have, or what you can do with the supplies you have, all the way up to what some of the top pros, I'm not calling myself a top pro by any means, but what some of the pros utilize on their kayaks. Again, I'll leave the prices for everything of each build at the bottom of this. And if you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and I'll definitely get back to you. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like, subscribe to this video, and go ahead and help me out. Take a look at some of my other videos, and thanks for stopping by.